What if I told you that the world just witnessed something so shocking, so unbelievable, that even the biggest global brands were left completely speechless? Before we begin, make sure you like this video, comment your thoughts right now, and subscribe to Jikook Lover, because what you're about to hear is not just news, it's history unfolding in real time. No warning, no leaks, just two names suddenly rising above everyone else. Again, how is this even possible? Why do they keep winning, over and over, without slowing down? Is this simply popularity, or proof that their power has reached a level no one can touch anymore? Because when the truth was finally revealed, the entire world froze. At first, nothing seemed unusual. The world moved forward like it always did. Fans scrolled through their phones. Brands launched campaigns. The entertainment industry continued its endless cycle of rising stars and fading trends. Everything appeared normal on the surface. But behind the scenes, something was shifting. Quietly, invisibly, inevitably, numbers were changing. Data was moving. And those who understood what those numbers meant began to feel something unexpected, something unsettling, something historic. There was no dramatic announcement at first. No flashing headlines. Just a ranking. A simple report, ordinary to some. But to others, it was an earthquake that would shake the foundations of the global entertainment industry. Then, the first name appeared, Park Jimin. And right behind him, like a force that refused to be separated, came the second name, Jeon Jungkook. Two individuals, two global icons, two unstoppable forces standing at the very top once again. For a moment, the internet froze. Fans stared at their screens, their hearts racing, their minds struggling to process what they were seeing. Some blinked, some refreshed the page, others simply sat in silence. Was this real? Had it really happened again? Because this wasn't just another win. This was dominance. This was proof of power that had not only survived, but grown stronger with time. And then came the realization that sent shockwaves across the globe. This marked the 35th consecutive month at number one. 35 months. Nearly 3 years. In an industry where fame disappears overnight, where new faces rise and fall in the blink of an eye, where relevance is fragile and temporary, someone had remained untouchable. Park Jimin had done the impossible. Inside corporate boardrooms across continents, executives spoke his name not just with admiration, but with awe. His influence was no longer just artistic. It was economic, cultural, global. He wasn't just representing himself. He was defining an era. But what made this moment even more powerful, even more mysterious, was the presence of the name directly behind him. Jeon Jungkook. If Jimin was the symbol of elegance and emotional connection, Jungkook was the embodiment of unstoppable momentum. His rise had never slowed. His presence never weakened. His impact never faded. Together, they formed something rare. Something the industry had never seen before. A dual force at the top of the world. Fans began to ask questions. How? How could they maintain this level of influence for so long? What secret allowed them to remain untouchable in a world that constantly replaces yesterday's stars? The answer wasn't simple. Because this wasn't just about music. It wasn't just about visuals. It wasn't just about talent. It was about connection. A connection so deep that it transcended language, geography, and culture. Millions of people didn't just admire them. They believed in them. They saw themselves in them. They grew with them. And that kind of bond cannot be manufactured. It cannot be forced. It cannot be replaced. As the news spread, social media exploded. Posts flooded timelines. Fans celebrated with pride, emotion, and disbelief. Even casual observers couldn't ignore the magnitude of what had just happened. Because this wasn't normal. This wasn't expected. This was historic. Many analysts tried to explain it using data. They pointed to engagement metrics, brand impact scores, media presence, and global recognition. They referenced the unprecedented cultural influence of BTS and their role in reshaping the global entertainment landscape. But even those explanations felt incomplete, because numbers alone couldn't capture the full truth. There was something else, something intangible, something emotional, something powerful. Park Jimin had become more than an artist. He had become a symbol of consistency in an inconsistent world. And Jeon Jungkook had become more than a rising star. He had become proof that true influence doesn't fade, it evolves. Together, They represented something bigger than themselves. They represented permanence in an industry built on impermanence. And that realization left the world stunned. Because this wasn't just about February 2026. This was about legacy. A legacy being written in real time. A legacy future generations would look back on and recognize as the moment when the definition of global influence changed forever. The question was no longer how they reached the top. The question now was far more unsettling. How long will they stay there? And perhaps the most terrifying question of all for the rest of the world. It wasn't the silence of indifference. It was the silence of realization. Because deep down, everyone understood what this meant. This wasn't a temporary moment. This wasn't a lucky streak. This wasn't something that could be easily explained away or dismissed as coincidence. This was power. Real, undeniable power. Somewhere, in cities thousands of miles apart, marketing teams began revising their strategies. Creative directors paused their meetings. Executives leaned back in their chairs, staring at reports that all told the same story. Their names were everywhere. Park Jimin, Jeon Jungkook. It didn't matter which country. It didn't matter which platform. Their influence wasn't confined to one market. It wasn't limited to one demographic. It existed everywhere at once, like a force moving silently through every corner of the global entertainment ecosystem. And perhaps the most unsettling part for competitors was this: there was no sign of decline. No drop, no weakness, no gap. Instead, their presence only seemed to grow stronger. Fans noticed it first, in the smallest moments. A single photo could dominate headlines. A brief appearance could generate millions of reactions. Even silence itself, an absence of activity, somehow amplified their mystique. How could doing nothing still mean everything? It didn't make sense. And yet, it was happening. Observers began to realize that their influence no longer depended on constant exposure. They had reached a level where their existence alone carried weight, where their names alone could shift attention, shape conversations, and redefine value. It was no longer about chasing relevance. Relevance was chasing them. For Park Jimin, this moment represented something deeper than numbers. It represented endurance. Every performance, every sacrifice, every unseen moment of doubt and pressure had led here. To a place where he no longer needed to prove himself because the world had already accepted the truth. He was not temporary. He was inevitable. And Jeon Jungkook, standing right behind him, represented something equally powerful but different in nature. His presence felt like motion, like evolution, like a future that had already arrived but had not yet fully revealed its final form. He wasn't just following, he was rising. Together, they created a paradox that fascinated everyone. One represented stability, the other represented momentum. And somehow, they coexisted at the very top. Fans began to ask questions that no one could confidently answer. What happens next? What happens when you've already achieved what others consider impossible? Do you stop? Do you slow down? Or do you transcend into something even greater? The truth was, no one knew, because no one had ever seen this before. Industry veterans, people who had spent decades watching stars rise and fall, admitted quietly that the situation was different. There was something unusual about the way their influence behaved. It didn't spike and collapse like traditional fame. It moved differently. It felt permanent. And permanence in this industry was the rarest thing of all. Some believed it was the result of timing. Others believed it was the result of loyalty. And some believed it was the result of something far more mysterious, something that couldn't be measured or predicted. A once-in-a-generation convergence of talent, authenticity, and emotional connection. The kind of convergence that creates legends. As the days passed, the headlines didn't fade. The conversations didn't stop. If anything, they grew louder. Because the more people looked, the more they realized that this moment wasn't the end of something. It was the beginning. A beginning that raised one final, haunting question that no analyst, no fan, and no competitor could answer with certainty.